I recently reviewed a bunch of ThinkPads, but who cares? Let's take a look at this super cheap gaming laptop.
Slap Tech.
This then is the HP Victus 15. I found it on sale for about $600. It has an Intel/NVIDIA cousin, but this one is all AMD with a Ryzen 5 7535HS, a 6-core 12-thread CPU with 16 megs of cache that clocks up to 4.5 GHz. It's mated to the dedicated AMD Radeon 6550M GPU with 4 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. Memory is distributed between two SODIMM slots, which are populated in this case by two 8GB sticks of DDR5 RAM. There's also an upgradable PCIe slot for a full-sized M.2 2280 SSD. These bits sit underneath a 15.6-inch 144Hz matte IPS display and are powered by a 50 watt-hour battery. The notebook itself weighs in at 5 pounds flat. The AC adapter channels a max of 135 watts and uses a proprietary barrel connector. Its body isn't exactly slim, but is sleek, lightweight, and utilizes a standard 3-prong from-the-wall cord. Out of the box, it has 9 feet of cord length, and with a longer from-the-wall cord, it can be upgraded to 12 feet. Though it has a USB-C port, the Victus cannot be charged with a USB-C adapter. And you'll need that charger wherever you go because the battery life is quite short. 6 hours of internet work use won't treat any diagnosis of range anxiety, and there's 4 hours and 45 minutes of streaming video available. When the time for work has passed, playing things drains the battery pretty quick too, with 2D retro gaming lasting for 3 hours and 20 minutes, and 3D retro gaming an hour and 20 minutes. PC gaming? Just be thankful it stays on when unplugging and moving from one room to the next. Sure, it's quite short compared to some normie's ThinkPad, but it's very inexpensive and not impossible to live with. Do note that these numbers were attained using HP's Eco mode, which does make a difference. Looking at the numbers and power usage while idling and under load, I don't know what Eco mode does. Please don't ask me in the comments below. The build quality of the Victus is predictable and throws few surprises. The body is entirely thick plastic with sharp edges that bends easily and doesn't instill confidence with its structural rigidity. The monitor is very flimsy and twists with reckless abandon, threatening to break the hinges if torqued too much. At least the hinges hold the monitor in place well, but do creak a little out of the box. Being the color of fingerprint oil means that it's slow to show wear, but I have a bad feeling the finish will damage quickly if left stained for too long or cleaned with an abrasive cloth or chemical. At least the keyboard keys dodged the reflective finish that's been plaguing the laptop industry as of late, but I really would want to constantly wipe it off to avoid near immediate defacement. Let's see what all those holes in the side do. The right is where the USB-C port is, not Thunderbolt because cheap, but will charge your phone, Gigabit LAN, USB-A 3.2, and HDMI 2.1. The back is where the warm air farts out, and the left gives us the AC in, second USB-A 3.2 for a total of 2 standard USBs, headset in, and a full-sized SD card reader. 2 USBs is a little lackluster on a 15.6-inch notebook, but I immediately forgive it for any other transgression because it packs a full-sized SD card reader. Can't charge through the USB-C port? Doesn't matter, has a card reader. No mini display port out? Doesn't matter, has a card reader. Card reader isn't very fast? Doesn't matter, it's a card reader. Looking at the inside, the first thing that stands out are the 2 available DDR5 RAM slots. This allowed me to upgrade this laptop immediately from 8 to 16 gigs. There's also a space where a 2.5-inch drive could fit, but the connections aren't there. At least the battery and Wi-Fi card can be serviced if deemed necessary. In other news, 2 heat pipes carry the high temperatures away to a dual-fan apparatus that exhausts only to the rear of the notebook. And how hard would it have been to give you a third USB-A port? Not hard at all, but alas, HP cheaped out on you. Back on top is a keyboard, and I like it. It's a very standard keyboard that doesn't take any risks and isn't noisy or annoying to type on except if you're resting your palms on the sharp edge of the chassis. The extra firm resistance of the keys is where the budget mindset comes in, and my fast, light typing style has issues pressing the middle keys reliably. Being a larger notebook, there's a full, very standard numpad to the right with double wide 0, plus, and enter keys. I really wish there were dedicated home and end keys instead of the HP Omen software and calculator button. Holding shift and pressing 7 and 1 isn't enough because I can't highlight a row with that, which is what I use home and end for about 80% of the time. Oddly enough, there's no function key toggle, though there is one available through the UEFI. A bright white backlight illuminates the keys with a single stop and bleeds under the keyboarders like it's a ThinkPad. Overall, it's a very standard keyboard and functions just fine for gaming stuff and work stuff alike. The touchpad is large, in charge, and a little clumsy. Right-click never registers along the extreme bottom edge and can be hard to find. The acceleration is predictable for the most part, but small, precise movements can be awkward. Resizing windows and placing the cursor in your Word document will take extra patience compared to other laptops with higher quality touchpads. In case it gets frustrating, it can be disabled with a hotkey. Staring right at your face are 1080 horizontal lines of pixels. It's the body dimensions of a 16-inch laptop with a 15.6-inch screen. At least it's 144Hz, which certainly doesn't hurt by any measure, but it's definitely a budget screen with plenty of ghosting. While the input lag is satisfactory, I wouldn't consider it good enough for competitive play. Everything else is good, but not great. The brightness gets up there but doesn't impress, the accuracy leaves some to be desired for hobbyist chores, colors don't distort at any angle but the brightness fades at a close angle, and the color balance is neutral, not poppy. I wish it was a little less wobbly on a flat surface, and I miss the higher resolution screen from my ThinkPad or the Asus G14. Is it livable though? Hell yeah. Nothing stands out as bad, and it won't let you down. Listening to stuff isn't half bad either. There's a good balance to the mids and highs with a subtle hint of bass in the audio. A good balance means the audio doesn't sound muffled or tinny, but the speakers here are certainly decibel challenged. These noise blasters fire down and can't fill a room to save their life. It'll do for most media consumption, but headphones should be on hand for some serious media digestion. This is a test of the webcam on the HP Victus 15, 720p. This is an excellent lighting, and the microphone is set to the Windows default settings. So if it sucks, just turn the default settings off, and then your microphone quality might be a little better. System performance of this ultra-generic gaming notebook is easily more than adequate. The name of the CPU might be just a Ryzen 5, but hear this. The only difference between this and the Ryzen 7 of the same generation is 2 cores. The available cache is the same at 16 megs, and the Victus casually chucks 45 watts at the CPU without a second thought, never throttles, and barely goes over 90 degrees. That means this notebook can do anything. Granted, it's not a speed demon, don't expect it to seamlessly handle the most intense 4K video editing or complicated coding projects, but with enough memory, which is upgradable, this notebook really can do anything thrown at it. I could make my videos on this notebook, the only compromise being that preview frame rates would suffer with more than one 4K video stitched together, and compile times would then be extended. This is an excellent gateway to amateur video and photo editing, and for an incredibly generous entry fee. On to gaming. With such a strong CPU at this price point, does the gaming performance follow suit? Yes it does. Since Snake Pass runs at 60 FPS and 1080p max details, this Victus can play anything. That doesn't mean the latest games will play at high details, think medium details, like in Diablo 4. At least 1080p is a realistic expectation as long as the texture settings don't push the 4 gigs of VRAM past its capabilities. It's unfortunate that 60 and 144 are the only Hertz options for the display. Some games, like Trials of Mana, are tuned to specific frame rates like 120 and will exhibit stuttering. Other games, like Quake 2, are fine at any frame rate. The best medicine for picky games is to leave the display at 60 Hz. As for the gaming footprint, the fans can be a little noisy, but are easily drowned out by the speakers, and the notebook gets good and hot on the bottom, but not unbearably so for a thin pair of pants. The keyboard heats up around the P key area, where WASD stays reasonably cool. This HP isn't half bad at retro gaming. It has all the compute cycles necessary to run any emulator, and none of the peripherals fall flat on their face. The display doesn't have an unbearable amount of ghosting, the speakers have a balance that's not too muffled or shrill, and the decent input lag won't drive you crazy. The poor battery life while playing even 2D retro games is where this notebook predictably disappoints. At least the size and weight of this unit gives off an appropriately cautious vibe when it comes to gaming sessions on the couch or bed. For the bottom line, this HP Victus is a pretty damn good notebook. Apart from being hefty and energy inefficient, the value of performing this well and costing less than $600 is screaming at you. There are many circumstances the Victus fits into, from being a first purpose-driven gaming rig, to a first mobile gaming rig if you already have a qualifying desktop, to a companion gaming device if all you have is a ThinkPad or MacBook that you need to keep for fulfilling adult responsibilities. The fact that it serves well as a PC doing all PC things is also a boon that should not be overlooked. In conclusion, students get a thumbs up, but not 2. I really want to give it 1.5, but that would be a little macabre, and most civilized countries frown upon such awards. It's big, heavy, and the keyboard isn't stealthy, plus the battery life will struggle on a full day of classes, but it's cheap, has a numpad, and all the performance you need. Did I mention it's cheap? Well, it's quite cheap, and it games as well as a $2,400 MacBook Pro. Not as well as a $3,000 MacBook Pro, but you get the idea. And don't hold me to my word about that, I just made it up. Or correct me in the comments below, whatever your scheming little heart desires. Casual gamers, I present to you your notebook. If you don't buy this, you've made a dire mistake or have deep pockets and a ThinkPad P14S Gen 5 with an RTX 500 GPU. Hey, I've got to defend my honor if no one else does it for me. Competitive gamers can go for it if they must, but you really should start saving up for a better monitor if you do. You'll also want the textures set to their minimum and be prepared to swear off resolutions higher than 1080p. Desktop replacement users will love this. It has upgradable storage and RAM and keeps reliably cool. Yes, the speed is merely adequate, but come on, man! It's less than $600. Home users can go for it, based solely on the price. The styling is also not gaudy at all like other bona fide gaming notebooks. Compared to a thin and light and for the purpose of home use, this notebook is like pocketing the fly swatter and pulling out a salt shotgun. It's much bigger, bulkier, and more difficult to store, but holy sh**, is it super effective and fun. This has been a review of the HP Victus 15 here on SlapTech. I hope you enjoyed this little romp back to the meat and potatoes of this channel. Ask any question about the HP Victus in the comments below. Stay tuned for the playing games with this notebook video, and rest assured that I have more great budget laptop reviews coming up next. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. Thanks for watching, and you guys, have a good night.